what I want to do next is get you feeling how the shoulders work in the downswing. And the simplest way to do that is to turn down the line in a mirror like this. And now, as I start down, I'm going to keep my chest open. And as I start down, I want to try and see my logo on my shirt all the way down as long as I can until I get it impact. You can still see my logo. That's exaggerated. But if I had a club in my hands, that would be right back to square. Right? So you're just going to try to keep your chest open, logo visible in the mirror all the way into impact.
And close like that.
Close, yep. So you can just watch yourself in the mirror the whole time. Good. Open your chest. There you go.
So there's a squat.
Keep coming all the way in impact. Keep looking at the mirror. So now,
It's almost gone.
it's okay. Post up. There you go. And that's dead square. And you used your legs to bring you all the way into impact. You didn't. In fact, you were literally trying to.
If anything, I should have not moved them. Right.
But you didn't have a choice. If you moved your legs correctly, you ended up in a perfect impact position. Your shoulders were perfect, your hips were perfect. That's the only way to get there, is to go through what we just did. Yeah, keep that spot in the mirror as long as you can. Use your legs to bring it all the way down. When you're posted up your jump, it's perfect. It's good. Now you can see both butt cheeks in the mirror now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Different than what we just saw.
In fact, was that and my shoulders are open, right?
Bingo. Exactly.
We're just trying to work it that for power.
You sense that you didn't have anything, right? So you've got to do something. You're doing the right things and trying to make up power. You're just doing it the wrong way, right? So keep doing that, keeping your chest pointing at the mirror as long as you can. And as long as your eyes are looking back at that mirror, you'll find that it's very easy to keep your chest closed the right amount. Yeah. Perfect. Both butt cheeks, right? That's it. Done.
Then the momentum will.
You don't have any choice at that point. The club's taken over, and it should be. Your hands should be chilled out, soft, relaxed, and you're just going to fling that puppy at the ball as hard as you want. Perfect.
Starting to feel this pull
Good.
in conjunction with the push-up.
Good.
This is one of the questions I was hoping you would answer, which is I always felt this open position impact to be physically challenging because I was trying to open my hips to impact, as opposed to it happening through different biomechanical reasons.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard to do stuff when you don't kind of look at the big picture on things, right? Like if you're trying to do things that your body can't physically do, like if you're using your arms and shoulders to bring the club down, I don't care what you tell yourself to do with your hips to get them open, they're never going to open because they're fighting for balance, for one thing. When people, yours isn't this bad, but like people who are really aggressive from the top and really just, typical high handicap, over the top move, the club shaft gets really steep as they come down, their hips are always dead square at impact because their hips slam on the brakes because they've got all this force coming out this way trying to topple them over because they just
fall over if they don't.
Literally, right? So if they try to turn their hips, it's literally physically impossible. That's why you have to, the only way you're going to get into the correct positions is to move the correct way in the correct sequence, which is body first and then the arms follow kind of thing. So the only next step is, or what do you think the next step would be from here?
You mean today?
Yep. You're doing these movements perfect. As soon as I put you in the mirror, you did it perfect. I can't improve on that. That's exactly where you need to be.
I guess put the club in my hand, right?
Negative. But that's the instinct. That's why I wanted to ask, right? Because this is going to be impact how you learn and how other people think about learning. The biggest mistake that people make when they do this is they do these drills slow motion and they only do them in slow motion and they go and grab a club.
I try. Okay.
You got to put this back in the context of the swing. You're never going to move this slow unless you're hitting a chip shot. I want you to keep doing the same thing, just go faster. And you go as fast as you can until you screw it up. And then you back it down a little bit and you keep repeating the drill at that pace. And that might be 5% faster than you're going right now. It might be 50%. It might be 100% faster than you're going right now. It doesn't matter what that number is. It just needs to be faster. And as you keep going and going and going and going, you keep pushing yourself until you screw it up. And if you can do it at full speed, then we add the club. But if you can't do this at full speed, what's the point of grabbing the club and the ball? There's no chance of you doing it with a club in your hands. Right? So put it in the context of the swing. Let's go a little bit faster. And if it breaks down, I'll stop you. And then we'll back it down a little bit and we'll drill at that pace.
And do with feel or still watch myself, or does it?
Absolutely watch yourself. You can do it as fast as you want, but still watching yourself in the mirror.
The old pace.
Shoulders opened up a little bit there. So really be diligent. Yep, keep that chest in the mirror. There. Left shoulder's a little high. There you go. You feel the difference there?
I had to consciously feel like I don't pull it up.
Yeah, because you're used to doing this, right? So it's just going to be, you have to think about that.
It's harder when you add speed, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And this is again where people make a mistake. They're like, oh, I could do this drill perfect in slow motion in the mirror, and then I go out to the course and it all goes to shit. Well, I wonder why. That's my whole, from the parking lot to the Indy 500 analogy. It doesn't work like that.
I'm still filling it in segments at the moment. It's not.
It's good. Perfectly okay to do it in chunks like that. So each time you have like a little chunk, your pauses are minimal right now. Like a lot of times when I'm doing the same thing with somebody else, they may have to go here, stop, make 15 corrections, go here, stop, check it out. Your pauses are minimal.
From here to there to there to there. It's okay to.
Absolutely. Break it into chunks like that. And then those pauses just start becoming smaller and smaller without you even really thinking about it. Good. Left shoulder. You're going to make mistakes, and that's normal. You just got to recognize them and correct them. So the simplest way to do that is to go through your checkpoints. All right, so go do it again.
There's one. Squat.
Make sure you shift over a little bit more. Get your hip over a little bit further to the left during that squat move.
I was overdoing it before, so.
Yeah, well, with the knee, you were, but now as you're doing this, it's okay. Remember, kind of sitting. There you go. That feels a little more muscle activation, right?
Yeah.
Or a lot more, probably.
Got it. 1, 2.
There you go. This was all working great. It's just this you're trying to help out. You're like, let me just.
Yeah, let me just give it a little extra zing.
Exactly.
I'm thinking of a feel for this.
The feel is anesthetized. These should just be completely zonked out.
They
right
don't
now.
exist.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So you didn't do anything, and look where they're perfect, right? They're square. They're still tilted. They're like this, right? Which is where they really are going to be. I want you to drill kind of level, just because we don't have a club in there. But that's perfect, right? So, but it felt like, it looked like your shoulders were completely relaxed all the way down in. And to you, it probably felt weird because you're like, wait, no, they got to do something, right?
Yeah. They really would want to help.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they were a bigger source of power. I call him the old Trevor. How about that?
The old Trevor.
He's already old in the rearview mirror.
Good.
That sit feels different. I like that idea.
It looks a lot better. You can see a lot more weight getting shifted over there. Perfect. That's going to help you feel a lot more aggressive. Relax the right knee. And kind of straighten it up a little bit. You gotta be careful with that one. There, use the left. As you're doing this, I will do it one more time. Go squat to square for me. Okay, so from here, you've got to keep shifting a little bit and turn a little bit more. That will straighten your knee without you straightening your knee, right? So that's the amount of flexion that should be there. But before, you kind of got here and you just posted up, but you didn't add any more rotation. You've got to blend those two together.
Right.
Into that.
That'll help the two cheek kind of look, right?
Exactly. That's what does it.
Got it.
Open up. There you go. There. Yep. That's the Tour Pro impact position, as good as it gets. Almost perfect. Yep. Right there. Good.
Feels squarish.
Yep, you're good there. If this is where you can use a club not to swing, but to have on your chest, because this makes it pretty much a no-brainer. You're gonna know right away if you're open, right? Because it's very easy to see this angle. But if I do this correctly, I should actually be able to come in and almost be slightly closed here.
Oh, okay. So the left shoulder going up equals opening.
It can still tilt, right? Some guys will do this, and you're gonna feel a lot of lower lumbar pain there. But if you're doing it correctly, it should still stay more or less level and square with your feet line here, more or less. You can drop a shaft down here with your alignment. You just don't want to see that guy go open. Flip that around.
The last tilt's good, right?
Yep. Nice. Tilt's going there. Good. There you go. There you go. So now it's very easy to check that this is parallel to your feet, your target line.
A little bit like that, but that's
It's okay.
It's not that. No.
Exactly. I mean, that's where it should be in real life. And when you drill, you might drill a little more level.
Because then the right hand's lower.
Bingo. As soon as you put your right hand, it has to drop, right? So I don't mind it being tilted even without your right hand on the club. I just don't. A lot of times we see students doing this.
That.
Exactly. Good. There you go. You helped out with your shoulders a little bit. Flip that club around for a second, the other way. Yeah, and do it again. This makes it easier for me. There you go.
That sensation felt like this was the right shoulder was resisting a little.
Yeah, when I physically hold it back there, it makes it a little bit more exaggerated of a feel, but it helps you feel when this shoulder's starting to protract. Because this is, when you go back, you're stretching this pec, and this pec, as it's stretched, it wants to do this right away. And as soon as that happens, then all of a sudden we're changing everything and starting to push and open up and all that. So that's why I was saying when we're doing these drills, open up your chest when you're doing this to try and feel your shoulders not pushing forward like that. So if you stay open the whole time, then it feels kind of weird to have your chest this open, but then it really makes it very noticeable when you start using your shoulders to try and help out in the downswing.
I mean, certainly the old impact was really kind of this,
Yeah. And that's where you got that little help in the pronation. Like your shoulder and pec are helping create that motion. When you keep that right shoulder back, like I was holding it back there, then this isn't going to happen anymore. Then you're just going to be able to stay back and throw the club. And that's going to increase the width, the radius of your swing, when you're allowing your arms to fully release and your shoulders to get pulled forward instead of you trying to push it forward. Because as soon as you push forward, inevitably, you'll end up kind of cramped like this at impact. And you want to think about getting yourself as far away from the ball as you can by creating as much width and space between your chest and that ball as you can.
And that'll fix the little chicken wing thing I get sometimes.
Not directly. That has to be fixed through you having the feeling of having power from someplace else. Because this is a power move.
Right.
You're just like, I gotta add something, right? Once you feel that your legs are doing this, and you feel like you don't have to use your arms and hands at all, that will start to sort itself out by itself. Let's try it again. Let's see if we can add some pace to it and do it all together and see how small we can make those pauses. And you can face down the line or either way. Yeah, it's probably going to be more helpful right now for that.
It is. Used to slow once.
Good. One more. Something else real quick. Gonna do it one more time. Do one more correction. Again. So a little different. Your head is moving forward a little bit too much. Yeah, that.
Okay.
That'll also make your shoulders open up. So now the movement should feel even less.
It does.
That's the entire golf swing, right there.
I refuse to believe it, and yet I'm believing it. So the head really does feel like it stays pretty centered the whole time.
It doesn't move much. I mean, it's gonna move a little bit. It's perfectly okay for it to move. I give like 1.5 inches in the backswing. I don't like for it to move much. But people who try to keep it just like perfectly dead centered, all they end up doing is reverse pivoting. And then not using their body at all because they're so paranoid of swaying. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm just not going to move at all. And then the golf swing is movement though.
Right.
You got to move.
Right. Okay, feels different. So I'm just facing this way.
There you go.
That feels like
There you go. Good. You'll find when your head stays back, it's a little bit easier to keep your shoulders shut. When your head starts going this way, it starts opening your shoulders with it because everything's obviously attached. So wherever your eyes go, your head goes. Wherever your head goes, your shoulders go. Oh, look at the shoulders.
why? That didn't help. That was an experiment that didn't work.
Yeah, looking back here in the mirror is the most impactful way to do this. Watch that right knee during the backswing. You should still be able to feel that right glute, that right leg loading up as you go back.
And I do.
Good. All right, don't help it. No need to help it. Good again. Done. Shoulders don't go any further than that. Now let's finish the turn. So you can shift over to the right a little bit more and then let your hips turn just a little bit to help you finish your turn. Start making this back all in the context of a full swing. Good, there you go. Shoulders are square there.
That felt like the sensation of you pulling on the
Yeah.
right shoulder all the way back.
Yeah, it's a good feel. That's why I do that a lot. It all of a sudden, because as soon as you go to the top, the first thing you want to do is go back to the ball, right? So I want to close our chest back off right away. So if you just kind of imagine that I'm holding you back there, it's kind of a good visual and a good feeling to help you keep that shoulder back the whole time.
A little bit more hip turn.
Yeah. Well, the hip, once you get there, and you're like, all right, I can't turn any further, but if I know I got to turn a little bit further with my shoulders, my hips have got to help out a little bit. And that's where you just let them finish the turn. There is a video on the site called Keep the Right Shoulder Back, and it's basically talking about the same feeling. So if you watch that later, it'll kind of help reinforce what we're talking about here. Good.
Ooh.
Getting tired?
Breath.
This is a lot of work.
Yeah, it's more work than you.
That's why I called your way the lazy man's way. Let me fix one more thing. Go back to setup. Okay, so slide your hips to the left just a hair and let your head, upper body fall back in response. So that just a little bit more axis tilt at address.
It's a bit more.
Yep, exactly. Perfect, there we go. Good.
Not bad.
And you pushed off your right leg that time. Do it again. Open up your hip as you keep coming.
That's that sit move I forgot that was working for us earlier.
There you go. There. So when you're doing this, you're doing it in front of a mirror and you're going at this pace, like I said, your blood pressure will go up, you're going to sweat a little bit, you're going to feel a lot more tension, a lot more muscle activation, that's normal. So the goal is you start making this just more fluid, more relaxed, more natural, and that's just by doing it faster. As soon as you add pace to this, you won't feel so bound up. So that's the goal. The progression is always super slow motion first to get the movements right. You can't do them slow, you can't do them fast.
Right.
So you go stupidly slow just to get the sequence of it, you break it into chunks, you pause, you go through your checkpoints, all that stuff. Once you can do it, and all those checkpoints are hit, and you're doing that every single time right, slow, you just try to make those pauses smaller and add pace to it. And you just keep doing that until you can go pretty fast. Just like your normal swing, you should be able to go at the normal pace and do that movement exactly right every time.
So that's a full swing right there.
Yeah,
more or less.
It feels weird doing it without a club because you don't have all this extra stuff pulling you around. But my pace for doing this drill would be that. If I can do it like that, then I'm ready to hit balls, or at least I'm ready to grab a club,
Right.
right? As soon as I grab the club, then we throw in a whole other wrench of problems, right? Because now we're worried about what the club's doing, what our hands are doing, what our arms are doing, so on and so forth. So that's why, if you're going to do this stuff the right way, it's why we do it the way we do on the site, where you do weight shift first, core rotation, left arm, club and left arm, and then the right arm. That's the right way to do it. Because as soon as you, even if you can do this movement perfectly, and you add that right arm in there, you're going to start going right back to the old flip and all that stuff. Even though you don't need it anymore, it's just ingrained in there. You're not going to stop magically doing something you've done millions of times, right? So that would be the fastest way to do it, would be not with the club at first. Once you can do this movement with a little bit of pace, we add that left arm back in there. And if we can do that with pace, we add the club, and then we add the right arm. But that may take days, it might take weeks. It just depends on where you're at.
Well, I mean, that's the philosophical question is, you know, I've been playing golf for whatever, 5-6 years, and it's to the point now where it's like, you know, you spend enough time in your life on this sport and investment in equipment and all that kind of stuff, it's like, I'd almost rather take a couple months off and emerge on the other side kind of where I want to be, than work hard on this, then play, then fuck it up, and then go back again. So do you have any kind of, was that basically your advice, what you just said, is
Yeah.
if you want to basically break through that, and I imagine everybody who's watching these and your site wants to be the next level golfer, that's the fastest way to get there?
The fastest way, hands down, is to take whatever time it may be. It might be a month, it might be 6 months, of not going out and just playing all the time. Doesn't mean that you can't play, but understand the challenges that you're presenting to your brain. Right? And I always try to explain it in ways that doesn't relate to golf, because I think golf in so many ways is too tangible. You can play with the same equipment, the same balls, on the same course that all the pros do, and they make it look so easy, hitting the ball miles and shooting 65 at Bethpage from the tips, right? Everybody thinks that, well, heck, I'm on the same tee box as Tiger, I should be able to do that stuff, right? And because the movements look so simple and fluid and athletic, that it seems very tangible and accessible to the average Joe. They don't see the stuff that I see. They don't see Tiger spending 45 minutes just taking the club back 3 feet, right? Every day for 10 hours a day. They don't see all the work that goes into that stuff. So everybody just wants to go straight from the parking lot to the Indy 500, and it just doesn't work. I think you're a musician. I play the guitar. I shouldn't even say that in front of you because I'm not a good guitar player, but I love playing the guitar.
Guitar owner.
I own several guitars. That's what I should say. But when I learn how to play a song, it's stupidly slow and clunky and cumbersome at first, and I just try to get the mechanical positions. Right? I don't have any rhythm. It doesn't sound like music. It's mechanical. Right? And that's how I learn how to play a song. I got to get the notes right, get my finger positions right. Oh, my arm needs to be here, whatever it is, and that might take me 30 minutes, it might take me 30 days, depends on how much time and effort and energy and focused practice I put into it. But at some point, I can start to put that together and add rhythm and tempo, and it starts to sound like a song. Golf is exactly the same way. You cannot bypass all of this stuff and just go straight to wailing on balls. It's physically and mentally impossible to do that. People get little hints of success when they, I've given lessons. I had a guy last year at the Ritz-Carlton who took a lesson, had never broken like 75 in his life. He was a good golfer, but shot high 70s, low 80s kind of thing. I gave him one 1-hour lesson. He went out on the golf course at the Ritz that day and shot a 67, and was blowing up my phone like, dude, this is great. I'm like, no. This had nothing to do with this stuff. Like, this is not how it works. It's not some quick fix thing. Doesn't mean that you can't go out and consistently do that, but it's impossible for our brains to absorb these movement patterns and build them in that fast. It was a panacea for that day. It simplified his swing thoughts. It gave him one thing that allowed him to sort it out. Whatever it is, it doesn't work like that in the real world. So the fastest way that I have found is the 5-step sequence. And that's slowly adding one piece, and we stack a piece, and we stack a piece, and we stack a piece. And if that screws up the last piece, you take that piece off, and you just have to have the discipline to do that.
Right.
If you go through it in that sequence, then there's a 0% chance of you not getting better. You have no choice. You will absolutely be a better golfer on the other side of this. It's all it is a lack of us having the discipline to think about things logically. Everything else in life you learned sequentially, step by step, slowly, clunky, cumbersome. And then golf seems like, oh, we should just pick up a club and wail on it, and it should just all be perfect. And I don't know why we think that, but we do. But there's nothing else. I have a bunch of race cars out here in the garage. I can take you out in one in our little racetrack we've got down here, and you'll put it into a tree within one lap if you're trying to drive at the same pace that I am the first time. It's impossible, no matter how much instruction and whatever I give you. There's just all these little nuances and feels and
I
things.
did go to race school for 3 years. So
did you?
I did.
Well, maybe we'll have to battle it out then.
There's a famous course in Toronto that they took off the F1 circuit. It was too dangerous.
What track was it?
Allsport.
I raced at Mosport in Conti 2017, and I raced in Ferrari Challenge at the F1 event.
The big turn 2 that goes down the hill. That's just a
It's very scary.
deep breath.
I've got some good video of that. So, but that's the trick, is if you slowly start stacking pieces, you've got to challenge yourself to go a little better. The first challenge is pace. If we can go a little bit faster, put it more in the context of what a real swing is going to be like, that's when we start seeing where stuff's going to break down. You keep going faster and faster and faster. That's the first key. Once you can do it at that pace with, all the stuff that you've got, no extra distractions, no club, no arms, no balls, whatever, that's when you add the next piece. So that's my goal here, is I'm going to push you like, okay, I can see you can do it slow motion, and you can do it with the chunks. I want to go faster. Let's go a little bit quicker. Let's add 20% pace. If we can do that, I'm going to make you go faster. I'm going to keep pushing you. And then if you can get to that point at the end of this lesson, to where you can go fast without any chunks or breaking it up, then that's awesome. I want to add that left arm. If you can do it with the left arm, I'm going to add that club. We might get to all of it today. We might get to all of it 2 months from now.
Right.
But the more distractions you give yourself, the harder it's going to be. Distractions playing, distractions adding another building block to this, adding the right arm too soon, adding the ball, whatever it is, putting yourself in a tournament situation, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's no different than me saying, okay, in 30 days I've got to learn this song and I'm going to play it in front of 10,000 people. It's going to be pretty darn ugly, right?
So that's a good note. So I do have our club has a tournament next week, and it's just a member type thing, super fun. Do you just sort of do what you do and let this come out naturally, or do you want to take as much of this to the course as you can, or what's your recommendation for the work in progress of this?
There's 2 ways of thinking about it. For me personally, I played through swing changes because, like most people, I want to play golf. I want to go out and have fun, especially member tournaments or member guests. They're stupidly fun, and that's what they only happen once a year. So you don't want to lose that. So how do you balance those 2 out? Well, one option is to go with the girl you brought to the dance and just whatever happens, happens. Forget about all the mechanics. You throw those 4 or 5 days away. Know that you're going to revert back, and you just go out and play with what you've got. That's the slowest way to make progress, but at least you can go out and play.
Does it wind back the clock, though, on the work you've done?
So my experience has been, and I've tried to find research on this, there's nothing really out there, but my experience with myself and then tour pros who practice a lot that I work with, I have found that for every 1 day that they play, or that I play, I tend to lose about 2 days of practice. So it's a huge compounding thing. Now again, there's no research, it's totally anecdotal, right? But it's amazing what happens over a course of 18 holes. It's shocking. And I'm one of my guys who shot the course record at Valdosta, one of the nationwide web.com now, shot a 64 the first day, I had the tournament lead for 3 days. Anyway, he's a phenomenal player, phenomenal ball striker, great player. His name's Paul Dickinson. And this guy, same deal. He works 8 hours a day on this game, or did back then. But every time he'd go and play in a tournament, even if it's just like a little 2-day mini tour event, we'd go back the following week and we'd lose 2 or 3 days every single time. And that's not just him; it's everybody. And it's just your brain starts focusing on something else. You start having all these distractions that you can't handle, trying to do stuff on top of what you're doing, and it just sends you backwards. So that's my anecdotal answer to that. So that's option A, just do whatever you got. Option B is my preference, and that is, come hell or high water, I'm going to take 1 or 2 things that I'm working on, and I'm going to keep working on them. And I don't care where the ball goes, I don't care what I shoot, it doesn't matter.
Execute that.
Because then I'm still getting quality reps in, right? I may not do it perfect, but at least I'm learning, right? I'm going through and saying, like, for you, for instance, right now, you may pick just this right knee and nothing else. Because that may be all that you can focus on and play golf, right? So no matter what, I'm going to get this right knee right every time, and that's going to be your focus for those 2 or 3 days and nothing else. And then at least you continue to reinforce that correct thing. You're making practice swing, and it's progress, right? Because you're focused on your right knee, which has nothing to do with directly hitting the golf ball, you may not hit it the way that you want, right? But that, to me, is the best way to kind of balance the two. It's a compromise, right? The best thing is to be doing your drills and doing the work and not playing golf, but it's not realistic, right? We want to go out and play and so on and so forth. So I would tell you to pick one thing. Typically, it's easiest, again, this is anecdotal, but it's easiest to pick a downswing thought or mechanic thing that you're working on than it is a backswing thing. Because the backswing has relatively little to do with directly hitting the ball. I can go to the top of my swing and stop, chill out, have a beer, and then still come down, so hit the ball fine. So if you're focusing more on downswing stuff, that's a little bit easier to play with those kinds of thoughts. So instead of the right knee going on the backswing, you could say, all right, I'll make a couple practice swings in between each shot, feeling that right knee. But then I just got to let that kind of transfer into the background. And my thought's going to be posting up on this left side, or whatever it might be, right? The downswing thought's easier to play with. So hopefully that kind of answers it. There is no hard and fast rule for it. I have personally, played through a bunch of changes, and I've played crappy. It took me 3 or 4 months because I was playing tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament, and it's very hard for me to try and make a swing change and try to make a living. So it took me 4 months to make a change that would probably otherwise take 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the trade-off.
Yeah, like I've been working, my range sessions always start with hitting balls with my left hand first, which is I have no coordination with my left hand at all. Just trying to lead side, get it to wake up and not everything be all on the right side.
Sure.
So I'm not awesome at it, but I'm better than I was.
Exactly.
Just putting in the reps,
It's just a numbers game. If you do focus practice, you're going to get better. And if you do these movements correctly, you have no choice. You're going to get better. It's the best example I have of somebody who did it the smartest way, took the most discipline, was a guy, Neil Murphy. Neil, if you're still out there, he's in Australia now. Used to come over from the UK for lessons to Florida every year, and he kept getting across the line and swinging under and have all these issues, and he just could not stop it because he played a bunch of club golf, and he's a very good player. And he finally said, you know what, I'm going to take 6 months off, and I'm going to do nothing. But for 6 months, I'm going to hit balls in my backyard and my net. I'm going to video my swing every single day. And he went from being a good golfer to a phenomenal ball striker. His 5-iron, he sent me his long emails, like, here's exactly what I did. 6 months, blah, 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 like documented, and all his buddies. He moved to Australia, moved onto a golf course, was the club champion at this course, and said, I'm not playing golf. And these guys are like, dude, come on, you're on the course, you got to play. And he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. By the end, he walked out on the other side, hitting his 5-iron, 235 yards, crushing it. And he couldn't hit a 5-iron 185 yards before that. But he did everything by the book. 6 months, that's a big sacrifice, but you think about, he's 30-something. He's now got 50 years of playing great golf. So that's the one extreme. Not everybody has the discipline to do that. I don't even have the discipline to do that. I want to go out and play and balance it out and stuff. But that's the fastest way. I always tell people those who go the slowest at the beginning get there the fastest at the end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the trick is, the answer is, it's not what you want to hear. The right answer is you don't want to hear it. It's just,
no magic pill, right?
There's no such thing. There's no panacea for it.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, you're going to answer it in different ways, based on what you see with me, just my age, my size, my physicality, whatever, my ability to do these moves. Let's say, let's be optimistic and say I get through all this and I'm doing relatively decently. The ego part of me wanted to ask you, so at our golf club at La Cumbra, my hometown, there's sort of there's a little bit of a ego match with the driver, because the way our course is set up, we have multiple holes that have a marker around 240, around 260, and in between is 250. You know what I mean? It's like on our first hole, first bunker, and it's uphill. And it's kikuyu grass, so basically your ball lands and it's divot. There's no free rolls, no nothing, right?
And then you have no direction which way it's going to bounce.
Exactly. So like the first bunker's 240. Between the two is 250, which is where I am. 260, and then past that is where the big boys are. They're in the 275, 280 range, and you have a wedge into the par fours. Doing all this stuff correctly. You said earlier, it's like you'll end up hitting at 290 with no control, and my eyes lit up because it's like I barely hit at 250 right now.
Yeah.
because I'm powering it the wrong way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have some sort of benchmark as to how people end up increasing their power if they do everything you tell them to do?
Sure. I mean, we have, like Neil is a good example. Myself, obviously all of this stuff was developed using me as a guinea pig, right? I mean, all of it was. So when my whole background story, when I came out of college and turned pro and moved to Florida, my first round of golf in Florida was a huge eye-opener for me. Because I played my college golf in Colorado at altitude, and I had a 10.5-degree driver, and I hit the ball straight up in the air as high as freaking possible. And I could hit the ball a long ways because of the altitude. I went to Florida, and that same shot went about 250. And you don't play on the mini tours at 250 off the tee, right? So I played with a guy there, and he hit the ball completely different, and I started working with him 20 years ago or whatever it was. And so I was like, I gotta get some speed because this ain't gonna work here. I can't cheat. The air's a lot thicker down here. So
sea level, right?
Yeah. So and cold and windy and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I went from maxing out, like wailing on it as hard as I could. My swing would max out at 112, and that was like, and that I would try to swing as hard as I could on every shot because I had to.
Right.
Because if I didn't swing 112, I'm just powder puffing it, out there. So I went from 112 to 129 max using what we're doing here.
Really?
But I did the same. Everybody learns how to swing the club with their arms, hands, and shoulders because that's what we do everything in our daily life with.
Right.
And it makes sense. You grab the club and you're like, oh, I just want to hit the ball with my hands. And that's the worst way in the world to hit a golf ball. So I went from, if I hit it 112 and I hit it perfect and launched it perfect, maybe I could hit it 285 on a good ball. When I went to doing my I said, all right, I'm just going to start over from scratch. I'm going to build my swing up, the way that I think it should be done and start all over and build this whole system, and that's how Rotary Swing was born. My mishits, if I whiffed it and hit it off the bottom of the club face, it would still go 295 in the air because I had so much speed to burn. That I could hit it 350, 360. I hit several balls over 400, like legit balls, not like bouncing off the cart path, but like, all right, I wailed on it, I launched it perfect, hit a big slinging draw, and I hit it 410. But, so that's the whole point of this stuff, is I'm nothing special. In fact, pretty much the exact same size I was back then. And all speed is mechanics. It's understanding how to leverage everything that you've got to get the most power of your swing without having to be muscular. I think back then I probably weighed 135 pounds. I was super scrawny. But I could still hit the ball 300 yards in the air, no problem. It's all mechanics. And you understand where its leverage comes from. There's no reason you can't hit the ball 350. Why would it make any difference? Physically, you don't have any limitations that are going to cause you to hit it, to be bounded at 240 for the rest of your life. It makes no sense.
Right.
So I have guys in their 70s who still carry the ball 250 consistently, but you watch them move, the things that they do right, every single one of them who hit the ball that far, they have tons of leverage, they have lag, which is maintained late into the swing, downswing, because they use the core. They use their weight shift and their core rotation and the post-up move, so they don't have to use their arms. And as soon as they do that, they can carry the ball a long ways into your 70s and 80s. So can you hit the ball 300 yards? Easily. But you have to use your body in the right sequence, or it will never happen.
Right.
There's a reason that when you said 95 miles an hour, and I kind of chuckled because everybody says that.
Right.
Everybody's club head speed is between 90 and 95. And that is the rule.
That's the upper body max out. That's it, right?
You think about it, I'd love for somebody to do the math on it, but it takes about 32 pounds of muscle to generate tour club speed, like 110 miles an hour. I think the actual number is over 100 miles an hour, it's 32 pounds of muscle. That's just the actual raw muscle that it takes to generate that much horsepower to move the club that fast. And you can have 32 pounds of muscle and still swing really slow because you're just really, really inefficient, right? But where do you get that kind of muscle mass? Well, you don't get it from your arms and shoulders if you're built like us. So you just don't have that much physical muscle mass. But in my back, in my hamstrings, in my butt, in my legs, I do. And so when I start learning how to use that, recruit that much muscle fiber and use it correctly, the world's your oyster. You just need to get 30 pounds of muscle somewhere and use it efficiently, right? You don't have it in your arms and hands. It's just not going to happen. So I used to play with a bodybuilder guy who's a big guy, 6'3", and he retired at 38, I think it was. And we used to play golf every single morning at our club. And he's big guy, like 6'3", 215 pounds, absolutely shredded. And he retired, and his plan was, I'm going to play golf for the rest of my life. And I said, oh, cool. Never once asked me for help at the swing. He was absolutely committed to figuring it out on his own. Super smart guy, and he was just Didn't want any help from anybody. He's like, I'm gonna figure this out. Okay. Every morning, 8 o'clock, he and I teed off together, and I hit the ball 60 yards further than him in the air, and it drove him insane. Right? This guy's crushed everything else in life. Super successful guy, muscular guy, good-looking guy, great-looking wife, big house, all this stuff. Hated playing golf with me because I did something. I'm like, listen, I can help you. Didn't want it. I'm gonna figure this out. He quit golf and went back to work because he refused to believe that he needed to learn how to swing correctly. He thought, I'm a strong guy, I can squat 400 pounds, I should better hit this ball as far as this little shrimp. But all he did at every single swing was all arms, hands, shoulders, lose the lag, flip, scoop, bottom. Right? Same stuff. That guy should hit the ball 400 yards if he wanted to because he has enough muscle mass, but he doesn't use it correctly. You can hit the ball 300 yards, no problem, but you have to move your body correctly. Right. That's the bottom line.
Some of the videos you took of me today, can you send them to me?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
So, any more questions? I'm going to make you work. I gave you a little break to cool off. But
Yeah,
now you gotta go
no,
back
let's
to
work.
All right,
I
so
was just shooting shit.
throw the club down, and I want you to start seeing if you can do these movements with the pace that you can do it at.
Do a refresher course here.
Okay? Well, let's see if you can figure it out on your own without me.
That. Sit.
Just right shoulder back. There you go. Good.
Right knee. Sit. I'm holding my breath. So I could help the cause.
No, breathe. Breathe through it. Pretty close there. Breathe again.
You wanted more access to it too, right?
Yeah, a little bit more access to it. There you go. That's the shoulder staying down. You've heard the old term like cover the shot, cover the ball with your chest, that whole thing. That's all that's really saying. As soon as this shoulder pops open or up, you're no longer staying down in the shot. So your spine angles change, all this stuff is going to start to change. So if you feel like it just, like I just kind of pushed against it there just to keep it from popping up or open, that's the same feeling as covering the ball. There you go. Good. Yep, good correction.
Is it elevation or is it, or both?
It's both. It needn't go up and it needn't open.
You're in it to listen. So that little sit, it still feels closed, right?
Exactly, yeah. Yep, it should be closed. Not quite that far over.
Squat.
That's perfect. And then just a little bit more lateral shift, another time. Or you just want to, you drop that club from the first belt loop there, you form a straight line to the center of your ankle there. You were just starting to get a little bit too far out. And you should start to notice that if you feel a little discomfort on the outside of your hip, you've shifted too far laterally.
Those degrees are much more subtle than I'm used to.
Yeah, it's,
You say you're not quite far enough, or it feels like, if I could see it in the mirror, but it feels like.
yeah, that's why, you know, if you need to go back and turn yourself face on, and then you'll see you're kind of like this, and you'll see in the mirror you kind of got this big lateral move where this hip is way outside neutral.
Injury central, right?
Exactly, that's how you tear your labrum on your left hip. So no, that's a 6 to 9 month recovery. There you go. Good. Perfect. That's it. Shoulder. See, now that's good though, right? So you added some pace to it. You broke the chunks down a little bit, but then that was the first thing to go. So you
it's okay, and then that's okay, right?
lower body was working, but then you tried to help with the shoulders. Let's go
Slow again. Closed.
There you go. Good. Add 20% to it. Let's see what happens. Not bad.
I felt it.
Good. That's the whole point. That's why I want you to go faster. Because as soon as you add pace to it, the thing that your brain is going to struggle with the most is going to become apparent immediately. Like right now, we're really grinding away on you feeling your legs and your trunk because it's totally foreign for you and it's new, right? But you're getting that. You're doing it every single time. Like maybe you shifted laterally a little too far a couple times, whatever, but you're doing the movement really, really well. That's not going to be the part that you're going to struggle with. You're going to get this stuff pretty fast, which is great. This is going to be what you struggle with.
He wants to help out.
Exactly. So that's why I want you to go fast, because that's where you're going to see what your mistakes are going to be, the thing you've got to concentrate the most on. So the simple way to fix that, keep your eyes fixated in that mirror back here, because as soon as you do that, you'll see like, oh, as soon as my shoulders start to pop, you'll see it.
I wasn't watching the mirror, but I can.
See, shoulders stay down, chest stay back. Good.
Right knee.
There you go. So you go through your checkpoints there. When you get into impact now, we want to see the left knee straight, not locked out, not hyperextended, just straight like you're standing here talking to me. Right? Hips are open, so when you're looking at it from down the line, you should see both butt cheeks, shoulders square and feeling level. And if we got those right, and then our weight is right, you just make sure your hips are neutral, then you're ready to do another rep. But go through your checkpoints each time just to make sure you're not missing anything. So there's no point in drilling this stuff wrong.
Right. That was a music lesson thing.
Yeah.
Practicing wrong is not practicing at all. Or even worse, practicing the wrong way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Feel square.
Yeah, we're good there. Again, if you're not sure, you grab the club. You can practice the club across your shoulders. That takes some of the guesswork out of it. There you go. Yeah, hey. Yeah, that's good there.
That's too fast.
Okay, do it again. Just gonna make one little correction.
Right.
Just feel it.
Yep. So when the head drifts,
Everything's gonna, you're gonna have a really hard time keeping the shoulders back because you're literally physically moving them. If your head goes, they're gonna go, obviously. So when I saw that, I just watched your head. As you're doing that shift, so typically, if you're gonna move back like inch and a half or whatever in the backswing at the most, you're gonna move back that same inch, but you didn't move at all going back, which is fine. But then you move 2 inches forward coming down, which is not fine. So your head, if you don't move off the ball much at all, then that head has got to feel like it stays exactly where it was at rest. You can't move in front of the ball.
so for me it's, if that's where it is, it should
Yeah.
stay right there.
Stay right there, yeah, because you don't move much off the ball, which is fine. There you go.
Got it.
Honestly, I'd probably encourage you to move a little bit off the ball, which is going to freak people out. It's like, oh my God, he's going to teach people to sway. But the reason is when I look at you face on and your head doesn't move at all, watch what happens to my spine angle. It starts to lean back this way, just a hair.
Mine's doing that?
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Because what happens is, it's like tightening a towel. Like you keep twisting this towel, all these muscles, the towel shortens, right? When you start turning, you're shortening these muscles and lengthening others. It starts to pull you back this way, and so your hip starts to bump out this way because of the way these muscles are getting lengthened. So you kind of get into this natural reverse pivot when you don't let your head move at all. But if I let my head move just a tiny bit, now I have, kind of the classic reverse K position that most tour pros look like. By just, and that's like that much head movement, right? It's very, very little, but it makes a huge difference in how our muscles start working in the backswing. So just do it your way first, your normal way. Okay. So you were kind of looking back almost this way? That way, exactly. Now, if you have a little bit of access to let your head move just a tiny bit, you'll feel a little bit more load, and you'll see a little bit more spine angle that you've maintained here as you go back. Yeah. So do that one more time. Okay. That's a little too much.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that much head movement. But it allows you to turn a lot more unencumbered, unrestricted. If you don't allow your head to move at all, it's very difficult and tight to make a full
I can
turn.
feel that in my muscles are
Really tight, right?
Yeah.
If you let your head move just a tiny bit, just a little more weight shift to the right, with your hip moving a little bit and your head moving just a tiny bit, then it feels a lot less tense. And you don't need that much tension in there. Just kind of frees you up a little bit. Yeah, so that's like maybe a half an inch of head movement.
really.
Yeah, I know it probably feels like a mile, but watch yourself in the mirror so you can see it yourself. Don't take my word for it.
Trying to find a place.
LeVar Burton, the Reading Rainbow, he used to say that all the time.
Trying to find a place in space that I can.
Don't go on feel. Go on what you see first. And if what you see is right, then your feel needs to adapt to that. There you go. So you feel a little less tension here now, not so bound up. That's more of a natural way to turn. Everybody's so terrified of freaking swinging.
I wasn't consciously trying to not move it. It just
Yeah.
I don't know why. But
Typically, if you try to not move, you'll almost always move the other direction. But the bigger thing is if you don't move at all, it's like when you were starting your downswing and I kept kind of grabbing your head because it was moving forward a little bit, that's a natural thing. You're trying to move back to the left. But if you didn't move at all going back and you want to naturally move forward, you're just going to move right in front of the ball.
right.
But if you give yourself some place to go, even if it's just a half inch, just free yourself up, a half inch head movement, it gives you a lot more freedom to move back aggressively to the left when it really matters.
As I look, I can sort of feel that.
You look a lot more relaxed. Good. Good, and it gives you a little more leeway going back the other way. You don't
I
have
feel
to
that.
fight to hold your head back.
I can feel that. Try to look and see if it still holds. So it felt like to me was that.
That's good. Do it one more time. You went just too far going before. So I'm going to keep my hand here. You can move off of it just a hair. Okay, it's an inch. Now you can come back to it. And no more. There. Watch your shoulders.
That's okay?
Yep. Good. Good. Does that feel like a lot of head movement?
More than
Off
bad.
the bat? Yeah, it's just that much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if it goes off a bit, once it gets back to where it was, it stays there
Yeah, it's done.
until
Yeah,
the next one takes you around.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you get back to kind of where it was, technically an impact, it actually tends to drop back a little bit more away from that line. So if you look at the best players in the world, typically what happens, their head moves a little bit off the ball going back. Immediately during the transition, it starts to move right back to where it was, like literally exactly where it was if you drew a line to it. And then the dynamics, as we increase the pelvic rotation, increase the axis tilt, the head actually falls back as we're releasing. And that's where, again, you're trying to create the biggest circle that you can with this golf club. And so as you move into it, you're making this radius very small, but if you're staying back and throwing the club out this way, that's going to give you the maximum radius, which is going to be free speed. So as their head goes back, that's really what's happening, is you're pushing off the ground to push away to create more space between you and the ball. So, but that's a dynamic thing. You don't have to try and make your head move back. It's just going to move
So
back.
it gives the two of us that big monster extension look through.
Yeah. That's what happens. If you're moving into the ball, you're going to look like this.
Right.
But if you're trying to throw the club, then you're always going to be moving away from it as you release it. There you go. I don't want your shoulders. Don't use the shoulders. Just your legs and core. There you go. Good. them at all, you moved them too far.
Too far.
Right? Literally. They have to get moved by this other stuff. You add anything to it, you're going to change the angle, you're going to change the position of they're open, you're going to start getting it off the toe, so on and so forth. There you go. They didn't move, right? They got moved. They end up square. You just don't move them. There you go. Good. There you go. Keep your chest pointed back there at that wall when you start down.
Even on that move.
Yep.
To breathe.
Yeah, there's way less air up here, so you definitely. There you go. Perfect. That's it. So the whole trick now is how fast can you do it? If you keep going faster and faster, I'm going to put that left arm on in front of you.
And so once it gets up to what is
It doesn't have to be full speed yet. Like, you don't have to like do just body stuff until it's perfect, right? Like, you want to start putting things in context within reason. Like, I'm not telling you to go out and hammer balls with the driver right arm full swing when you're trying to do something that this is this fresh and new to you, right? But can you do it, you know, if you can do it at a reasonable pace, then you can start doing this with the arm. Because the arm swing adds a lot of momentum and a lot of different changes to the feeling of what you're doing. So just by getting your arm, this should be really simple to get this. As soon as we add the arm in there, now we start to feel a little bit different things. And that's why I want to kind of push you to get to that point, so you can feel like, oh, well, it's a lot easier to make a turn because now this momentum of my arm swing finishes my turn for me.
so whether I do this right or wrong, just I know you don't want me to do it correctly. It's like, what does 80% speed look like? Does it look something like this? Like,
That's plenty, yeah. And that was actually really good.
of course.
And that's, well, your head's just moving a little bit, but too far forward, there you go. And what you'll find a lot of times with these drills, there always tends to be a happy medium. Like at first, really, really slow and chunky, right? And then we try to speed it up, stuff falls apart, we kind of find the parts that are gonna break down. But then as you kind of move at a reasonable pace, because your brain can't think at a conscious level and juggle all these things, you start doing some of these things naturally. And so it just becomes a little bit more fluid, a little bit easier to do some of the movements with some pace than it is to do them stupidly slow. So you'll start to find like, oh, like you just did there, like, you're like, is this 80%? Like you did all the moves right, right? Doesn't mean you can do it right every single time,
Yeah.
right? But that's kind of normal. So that's this progress. That's why learning isn't like this, right? It's like this, because you'll realize, like, you'll stumble on, oh, if I just go 60% speed, I can do it right 90% of the time. At 80%, it's not there. At 40%, it's actually easier to do it at 60%. That's the same thing with the left arm. As soon as you add this left arm swing, like, oh, now I get why he's having me do this, because now when my arm swings, I feel my core stretch even more, because this is pulling this lat and this chest, my arm swinging across, and now these muscles start to wake up more. All of these things start to kind of add up and blend together and start making some of the movements easier than when you're doing it without your arms.
And so while I have you here in person, so like on this site, so it's this move, so we get to a reasonable pace,
Yeah.
then it's left arm only.
Yeah. I want you to try a couple of left arms, because
Okay.
I know that you can do it at least 60, 70, 80% speed. Let's try a couple of left arm only.
Then it'll be left arm with the club.
Left arm with the club upside down typically, so you don't have the mass of the club trying to
Right
bring
hand
it.
fingers, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Same sequence that's on the side.
So let me do this one slow first. So what do I do with the right hand? Does it matter?
Yeah, just get out of the way. Just put it kind of back. Do that.
Feels different.
Exactly, right? All you do is put your left arm in front of you, and now all of a sudden things feel different, right? But your focus is still 100% on what your core and trunk is doing. But as soon as we add this distraction in there, yeah, just let it swing up, let it have some momentum. There you go. So now when you get, yeah, exactly. So now when you get an impact, this shoulder should be down, and this hand should be right in front of the left thigh, right, or like kind of middle of the thigh, and flat.
Feels different, strange.
That's why we go through it in sequence. It's amazing how doing something as stupidly simple as just putting your arm in front of your body changes the thing we've been doing for an hour and a half. you didn't do anything. You're not doing anything with it.
It really does. Testament to it. You're not supposed to forget it's there, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Your focus is still 100% on what your legs and core are doing.
So
Your arm's just along for the ride right now.
it's actually giving me more visual to keep this down because I can feel my hand in space.
This is what you're going to discover. This is the up and down part. You're like, oh, if I do this, this actually makes this part make more sense to me. I get why he's having me do it that way.
E straight. One.
Just left shoulder down, relax it. There you don't have to move it. When I say relax it, when you're like this, you're relaxing by like moving it forward.
It's just
Literally straight down. There you go. Good.
mini.
This is normal. It's great that you caught that, but as soon as you add one more building block on there, right? So step 3 in our system is adding that left arm. All of a sudden you'll find that your brain, if you haven't done enough reps, that you can't juggle that one little thing. Like your knee starts straightening up or your head starts moving forward or whatever it may be. That's why it's really important to be paying attention to these little
Then
details.
you suggest you rewind the clock a little bit for a day, and then
I give you 3 to 5 reps, or I give my students 3 to 5 times. So if I go and say, okay, we've been doing this for a while and you're doing this movement great, I want to challenge you, put the left arm there. I'll give you 3 times, maybe 5, but if everything starts going to hell, after that, we take it off. We just take that piece off, yeah. So it's okay if you screw up once or twice or a few times, but if you keep doing it after 5 times, now we've got a pattern, right? You're just going to keep screwing it up. If you've done it 5 times wrong, you're not going to just magically figure it out. So we take that piece back off the puzzle, or off the stack. There you go. Good. Perfect. Good.
no.
Your left shoulder came out a little bit. Get that left hip a little more open as you come into impact. There you go.
It's a combination of that and
And the oblique. Yep. Good. Now let your left arm swing a little more freely on the backswing. Let it just kind of swing. It's going to get moved by your turn. Good. If you let it kind of just hang down, kind of like a grandfather clock right now, even in the downswing, just let it go where it goes. If it ends up here, great, that's totally fine. There you go. Just make sure that you're posted up before that hand gets into impact. If you're doing this and then you're posting up, it doesn't do us any good, right?
so actually let's clarify that. What is I know we're jumping here, what is the timing of, will it happen automatically with a lot of momentum, or is it's the post up that
Yeah, so
choose
the sequence that I want you to do it in is square, you're about 9 o'clock, or your arm's about 9 o'clock when you do the squat to square. So your arm's still up here, right? As you start to post up, your hand gets in front of your thigh. So once you're posted up, you're going to drill that your hand is right in front of your right thigh.
Okay.
If you're stopping.
Okay.
Right? So here, and then you would just release, and this is a baby chip shot. It's not going anywhere, right? So as you keep doing this, your goal is to get posted up while your hand is still here. Because at this point, your hand's only got to move a few inches, and this is all happening really, really fast in the real swing. So as you keep drilling and you stop with your hands in front of your thigh to make sure you're posted up already, because most people will still kind of be like this, and then their hands down here. It's too late. You're not going to be able to get any power transferred from your trunk. So if you keep practicing here while you're posted up, then that's what you're trying to feel, is that you're posted up while your hand is moving through the hitting area in front of your thigh.
That far back, huh?
Yeah. When you're drilling it. Think about it this way. That whole post-up with that vertical movement and hip rotation, that vertical movement's adding speed. It's adding force to make the club release down. You're releasing that wrist angle with your legs. That transfer of energy needs time to happen. So if you post up and your hand's right here, there's not enough time for any energy to work its way up the chain to release the club. It's got to be happening back here.
So let's do it in slow motion.
Yeah.
So backswing, wherever.
Yeah.
Squat about,
It's about roughly there. Yep.
right?
Post up. Your hand is there. And the real swing is less than 1/10 of a second. It's going to go from there to there where you actually hit the ball, right? So we have very little time to get that
But
energy up.
momentum will do that for me, likely.
Oh, it absolutely will,
Right.
for sure. But you've got to get that post up before the hand ever gets near the ball. Yeah. So there it happened kind of at the same time, right? Your hand was at impact as you were posting up. Well, not enough time.
Right.
There you go. Yep. Good. Good.
Breathe. Nope.
Perfect. Grab the club for a second. I'm gonna, not necessarily expecting you to be able to do this perfectly, but I think you actually will be. But I want you to be able to know when you go home to practice what the club should look like
Yeah.
while you're doing the same stuff.
So left arm, but with club, right?
Yep. Forget that you got a club and an arm. It's just your lower body doing all the work. Okay, so go all the way to the top. Phone's down here. Bring your charger out here. All the way to the top. There you go. Now come down, squat to square. We're going to be about parallel. When you look in the mirror, you should still have a greater than 90-degree angle
More than 90.
between your forearm and club shaft. Yep, exactly. So you're going to be here. Now come on down. And the club shaft should be parallel to the ground. If you have this much lag here, it's going to be really hard to get rid of it in time. But parallel to the ground, when your hand's in front of the thigh, is kind of my default.
And I'm fully posted up.
Fully posted up, and then the only thing that would happen would be just the release.
So not there.
Right.
No power left.
No power, exactly.
Ish.
Yeah, we're in the ballpark there, yeah, good. Good, that would be too much lag, right? It's a good problem to have, to a degree.
Right. And this is answering one of the other questions I have for you. I like problems that fix themselves, 'cause those are nice.
Yep, right there.
Okay. It's a new feeling.
Yeah, so that's why adding the arm in there, now you start to get a feel. If you really just did nothing with your arms, this is the whole trick to this stuff, and you just did the stuff we're working on, you're going to end up there. But if you add anything to it, your arm won't. So let me borrow a clip for a second. So if I did exactly what we've been working on, so I just went to the top, do all the same stuff, I'm going to squat to square, or squatting to the left side, my hands about, arms about parallel to the ground. I didn't move my arm at all. Didn't move my arm at all. It just ends up here. It's getting moved by my body. So you shouldn't have to be trying to do something. If you're fighting that, your arms are trying to do way too much. They should just naturally move through those positions by you just moving your body.
So certainly in the terms of practicing these new movements is forget about this. Just
Yeah. Watch where it goes if you try and leave it at the top. Just leave it up there and just use nothing but, oh, look at that. Look where it is.
refuse to think it's that simple.
I mean, you did nothing with your arms and club, and it gets forced to be in the perfect plane, perfect path, perfect position, perfect amount of lag, all that stuff. It's just moving from the inside out first. So that's where you start getting speed, because you're conserving all of this energy that you have in your arms, the lag, the leverage, all of that stuff, until very, very late in the swing. Whereas most people just start throwing it away immediately. You have to have something else to move the club, that's your trunk. And that allows you to conserve your arms until the very bottom. And then you can be aggressive and release the club and be assertive with it and all that stuff if you want to.
And do you actually actively throw the arms at the
You're always going to use your arms more than you think. Everybody does. if I told you to
human
not
nature.
use your arm, like you couldn't, your arms, you would have no control over the club, right?
Right.
So what people feel and what's real is the difficult thing to explain there. Do I feel that I'm aggressively using my arms in the swing? I don't. Do I use them? Absolutely. But I'm focusing on using my legs and my trunk more than anything. And my arms are just, you know, they have to have some tension because we've lifted a club up there and it's got to be controlled. So at first I would tell you feel, you're going to have to focus so much on your lower body anyway. That's going to be your focus. And then if you get really good, comfortable with it, then you can start feeling like you add some right arm, that throw the ball drill on the side. You can start adding some zip to it.
I think overall the challenges are this right knee feeling, that's, I'm getting that,
Yeah.
is the little squat keeping closed,
Yep.
a little bit new,
That's a tough one for most people.
and then not wanting to hike that up. Those are the two that feel at the conscious that you do them. The rest of it's kind of feeling pretty natural even after an hour or so.
Yeah, it looks great. So it's just a matter of repetition now. Now it's just a numbers game. Mirror work, doing the same thing over and over again, and just keep challenging yourself to put it in the context of the pace of the swing. But we've already added 2 things. We're on step 4 out of 5, right? We've added the club, we've added your left arm, and you're still doing the movements correctly. So I would just keep pushing. I want you to do it. I'd flip the club right side up as the next step, so you kind of get the feel of the momentum and all of that stuff, and we'd start making kind of full pace swings. You can do that, and then we'd slowly add the right arm on there. That I would add typically later than, you can typically work through steps 1 through 4 if you're doing it as fast as you can, pretty quickly, like in a lesson kind of thing. The 5th, adding that right arm, takes a little bit more time. You got to be more patient because this thing is like, you know, strung out on crack. It wants to get so aggressive because we're so right side dominant, most of us who are playing right-handed clubs, that it really overtakes all of this stuff and you'll go right back to your old habits so fast. So I would be patient with that one, but you can work through the other 4 pretty fast.
Right.
So this whole process, in 2 weeks, if you just did what we did here, you would have the entire movement of your body as good as any tour pro, with the club going through the right positions as good as any tour pro. And then the next step would be adding the right arm, and that might be another 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it is. But you're talking literally, as fast as you've gone through this stuff already, in 6 weeks, you're done with your golf swing for like ever. You know, it's pain-free.
Don't tease me.
It's effortless. If you have the discipline, which obviously the way that you practice this, and if you guys watching this at home, this is how you practice. You obviously know how to learn. So you've learned something in life, and you get the learning process, right? The focus that it requires to really effectively affect change in our brains to get our bodies to do what we want. You get it. So you just got to keep doing this. And just keep working through the same sequence. You wake up in the morning, you're going to retain about 20% of this. It'll be a little frustrating tomorrow morning. You're like, oh, I was doing so good yesterday.
Right.
It's just how our brains work. You just go right back to the beginning. You may have to do 5 minutes of just arms across my chest, slow motion, chunky. But it'll take 5 minutes to get to where it took you 40 minutes today.